A mythical little creature, a short, acne-faced child, and those scary-ass things from the movie Gremlins. These phrases are all used to describe the slang term gremlin from Urban Dictionary. But what the hell does that mean for anime characters? A rowdy tsundere? A lovable yandere? Even I don't know. And that's what we're here to find out, to discuss the groundworks of an anime gremlin. Join me today is the inspiration of this episode, the podcast Gremlin himself. We got Miles. Miles, so you sparked this idea in my head, but how did you get the idea of discussing anime gremlins in your head?
So, can you refresh my memory really quick? Because I forget what we were discussing. But I think it might have just been a couple of seasons ago, last year maybe. We had a lot of characters that fit the vague idea of a gremlin, and I started to want to think about like the origin of these characters and like a family tree, sort of thing. You could do that sort of with tsunderes relatively easily, where you have like Asuka being like a boom of life to that, and then you have other ones in the past you can think of, and there's other renditions of that continue, like Taiga. You could trace these inspirational characters. I wanted to see if that was possible with Gremlins. And so, I like doing the research on this. I wanted to try to figure this out, and I gotta say, the Gremlins got to me, as we'll find out in this. We'll figure it out as we go. But, what are you thinking about first here, Pete?
No, for sure. And sort of, I think we kind of collectively came to this idea last year specifically, where we had all these characters that we were categorizing as gremlins. We even created our own category for End of the Year awards as Best Gremlin. We always like to add some like fun categories in there, and that's one of them. But then we got to discussing, like, is this character a gremlin? Like, it doesn't really fit the mold of what we think a gremlin is. And then you go online and it's like, what is an anime gremlin? Would you describe gremlins? And there was like 40 different definitions. People were throwing out answers to their favorite gremlins. And I was like, I don't know if that is a gremlin. And then that got me thinking even further. I was like, what if there's something more than gremlins? So that is something that we are going to discuss in this episode. But I just love the idea of sort of like this new, I don't know if it's like a wave of character because they've been around forever. However, I feel like the recent surge of gremlins sparked this for both of us. And maybe it's going to be a character trope that we're going to be seeing more and more of going forward, because I think it's a great tool and a great character to sort of cut tension with and have like comedic effect. And we've gotten a lot of really good gremlins in the last couple of years. So when Miles pitched this idea to me, I said, yo, let's do this in 9 months because I'm going to forget. And then we can research it a little bit and then come on and we'll talk about it. So that's what we're sort of going to be doing today, is we each brought our own definitions of what we think a gremlin is, or gremlin adjacent. And we're going to give our definitions and sort of what we think is those characters are categorized as, along with shout out to our Discord, giving us a huge list of characters that they want to hear us discuss, whether and where we would like put them into our own category. We are also at the end going to do our Mount Rushmore of gremlins. And I will say this is our personal Mount Rushmore and not what we think like the overall sphere for anime, because I'm sure there are some gremlins from the 70s and 80s and 90s that are great. Neither of us have seen it. So that's sort of like what sparked me to kind of like want to do this. Once you gave me the idea, I'm like, there is an untapped market for gremlin content. Let's get to it, Miles.
Yes, absolutely. Really quick, Pete. Yeah, do you know where the term gremlin first came from?
If I'm going to take a guess, it's from the movie Gremlins.
Okay, so we're off by...
I'm off by about 1,000 years.
Few decades. So it was used by the Royal Air Force, like the British Royal Air Force, as like an imaginary mysterious creature that would cause issues with their planes and just sort of cause chaos. And part of it was that it allowed them to defer blame and keep morale high. It's like, oh, this issue was just gremlins, let's all work together, but also, it sort of when you're doing all this stuff, you don't always know the cause of things, and so these mysterious creatures, were causing that. So I don't know if you have seen the classic Twilight Zone episode where the man is on the plane and sees the creature like messing with the plane
on the wing, and nobody believes
Yes.
them.
Correct.
Yes, I have seen
Yes.
that.
Okay. See, yeah, you thought you weren't going to have seen that when I started talking about this, but you had.
And that came out
so,
before the movie Gremlins. So
yes, and that is a gremlin. There's a book by the author of his name is Roald Dahl. He did like James and the Giant Peach, the BFG, and one of his first books was called The Gremlins.
Ooh.
And it was about these creatures and them sabotaging planes during the war, but then eventually they get put to like making stuff or whatever. And I guess Disney almost made it into a plane. That's crazy. Or into a movie. But that's sort of like the origin of the term. And then obviously the 1980s movie is massively impactful since it's called Gremlins.
Yes. And it's a great movie too. Don't watch Gremlins 2 though. That movie is trash. Okay, so do you want to dive into what we think is a gremlin?
Yeah, let's hear what we think a gremlin is.
Okay, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? Because mine is going to be a kind of long. I'm not super long, but I don't know how long your definition is.
Well, so my definition itself is going to be, I've got like a sentence or two.
Oh, okay.
The thought process for getting there is a bit lengthy.
Okay, how about I go and then maybe you can do yours and bounce off of me?
Great, sounds
cool.
good.
Okay, so this is my personal definition of what I think and what I categorize as characters as gremlins. At a core, the gremlin must have chaos on their minds at all times, whether it's acting or planning. The day of the life of a gremlin can never be the white picket fence and freshly cut lawn fantasy that we perceive in our minds. We need clothes on the floor and we need a dirty welcome mat. That being said, the chaos doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative. It is a real life equivalent of adding spices to a meal, where a person's tolerance of a gremlin may vary. Gremlins add a level of entertainment to the world, while normally inconveniencing but not harming an individual or group of people. On a D&D alignment chart, I commonly align this to chaotic good. Common physical attributes of gremlins may include, but are not limited to, being small, emphasis on the SMOL, small, shark teeth, and the look of terror when confronted with responsibilities. General traits of a gremlin: they need at least a small amount of chaos happening at all time, and they need to be a little selfish. Their repercussions for their actions needs to be something minor. It can't be significant. It can't be getting put into prison. It can't be something along those lines. It needs to be something where it's like a slap on the wrist, a talking to, something along those lines with these gremlins. Common traits of a gremlin: poor timing, overly outgoing or emotional, clingy, and a lot of times they're pretty damn smug. I will say gremlins are normally girl characters. However, they are for everybody. Just right now, I think the market is saturated with girl gremlins, but we're going to get to some examples later on of some male counterparts. Some examples of gremlins that I picked are Nina from girls band Cry, Clara from Welcome to Demon School Irma-kun, Anya from Spy Family, and Yuki from Alia Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian. So that is my essential breakdown of like what a gremlin is. At its core, I think it's normally a genuinely good person, but however, they need to have something going on that can cause a little mischief.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on that, Miles?
So we agree on some parts, and then we are polar opposites on one key aspect.
Okay.
So I have defined a gremlin in my head as it must be a person that has a form of feral energy.
Okay.
They have to enjoy chaos and cause chaos for the sake of chaos.
Ooh, I like that.
And they must be at least a little malicious in it.
Ooh, okay.
Right? So when I think about my gremlins, I think about the 1980s gremlins. I think about the gremlins on the plains. They are always sabotaging something or wrecking things. And it's various levels of threatening. Sometimes it's just kind of silly hijinks. Sometimes it's maybe a little dangerous, but it's never completely above the board. So to me, there has to be some edge to a gremlin. They have to be at least a little bit willing to mess things up, even if it's not for the greater good, because it is fun to do so. That is my thought process there.
I think so too, but I think one thing that I think gremlins need to have is with the chaos that what they're trying to do isn't going to harm others. And I think that's the difference between what we have, where you're thinking guy on the plane ripping out some tiles or whatever, and that could harm a lot of people. I think at its core, a gremlin is more of like at its group. Like it's like our Discord. I would never be a gremlin. I mean, I probably would, but like my gremlin energy towards our group is within our group. I'm not radiating that gremlin energy to other people. And so I think it's more of like a focused energy of gremlin towards a specific group and not like its entirety. And I think that's where we differ.
Yeah, I think so. That's interesting. I think you had recently called me the gremlin of the podcast.
Correct.
And the moment I think that would exemplify that by my definition is what is now immortalized as an emote, which is the Demon Miles or whatever, which is from a period of time where I realized people didn't like a show Kat really liked, and then just smiled as I asked questions to highlight that fact in a seemingly innocent manner. And like, that was fun and chaotic, but it was also a little mean. I was being a little mean there, you know? And so that's where how I think of it.
In your
that
defense,
sort of thing.
The show did suck.
It did.
Were you being mean? Yes. But were you also correct? Also, yes.
You know, but I know you're going to go into like divergent species of gremlin-esque things, and I am doing a more lateral segregation. So do you want to start with your like evolutions or branching?
Let me ask you a question first. Do you think gremlins can be good? Because I feel like in your definition, it's more focused on like when you say chaotic, when you say malicious, to me, that brings to me like a little bit on the bad side, but I feel like there's also good gremlins.
So I think you can be friends, or like a gremlin can maybe help you out, but they're always going to be a little bit of a wild card. I would think of someone like Rebecca from...
I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay. Because to me, like, she's a good ally and everything, but also maybe she starts shooting too quickly. And like, that's always going to be like a little, like, maybe that's not the right thing to do, but I love shooting people. You know, it's like that sort of thing. You know, if there was someone and their main quirk was like, oh, I randomly donate money to the poor, that's not a gremlin to me. There has to be a little bit of an edge to that, you know?
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay, no, I get that. It's cool that we have different. If we both had the same different definition,
we just named the same characters.
It'd be boring. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's funny that you brought up Rebecca, because I'm going to be bringing her up down the road.
I'm going to be bringing up a lot of characters you're going to be bringing up in your further iteration sort of things, I believe. So,
because I guess the reason why I did this was there are some characters that I just can't lump in as the same group. You know, like you have Taiga from Toradora or something like that. Can I really lump her in as the same person as Tanya the Evil? Like, I personally can't do that. I think they are too... Oh no, if someone else wants to, go for it. I think it's super fun. But
do you want an example I have of a gremlin who is like not shooting, like is more like calm comparatively? They're not as violent or evil, but I still think they have that malicious tint to them.
Oh, I have one later on that I think is going to catch people off guard, but I'd love to hear yours.
Okay, so my thought would be like Haruhi, right?
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up. Guess what I'm going to bring up later down the road? Actually, let's just talk about it now.
Sure.
Tell me about Haruhi.
Yeah, so I have picked Haruhi because one, she loves chaos. She's always bored. She's just trying to do things, entertain herself, and sometimes that comes at the cost of her friends. You can see that in like the film making arc or whatever, where she's like really kind of messing with Asahana, and like the just a few different things like that where it's chaotic energy. It can be fun to go with, but sometimes if it's pointed in the wrong direction, it's gonna hurt people. And so what I think is interesting about the Haruhi dynamic is you have this group of people channeling the gremlin energy. That's the entire plot of the show, basically, is to channel this chaotic creature in a positive direction. And they know that they're gonna get burnt a little bit, but overall they can, send it where it needs to go. So to me, that sort of feedback you get when you try to control a gremlin, you are going to get hurt a little bit, but you can in some cases, i.e. Haruhi. That is my thought on her and her gremlinhood.
That's we're having some behind the scenes baseball, having some conversations before recording about certain characters that are really hard to place. And Haruhi was one because there's so many different dynamics to her that, depending on which lens you view it from, I think can be expanded on. Because if you view it from her perspective, I think she's a gremlin. I think if you view it from other people's perspective, she's more than that, which is going to lead me into my next definition, which is what I think is one step away from gremlinness, and that is a goblin. So a goblin is similar to a gremlin in every sense, except their actions are more harmful to their party or another party and more beneficial to themselves. I think this is where characters that are more violence and action oriented fall in line. I also think that their vocabulary can also be more aggressive while still having that silly and quirkiness that you want in a gremlin. On a D&D alignment chart, I think this could be a huge range. I label it anywhere from like chaotic good all the way to like chaotic neutral, possibly like lawful evil. Haven't really looked too much into D&D alignment charts, but
you don't mean lawful evil, I promise.
What's that?
You said you don't mean lawful evil, I promise. Lawful evil are going to be people. Do a little quick D&D alignment chart. They're like evil politicians who use the structures of society to like commit evil. It's not like any less evil than chaotic evil. It's just a more structured, more systematic evil than that.
Let me ask you a question, especially since you brought up like a politician. What would it be then if you had a character who did something evil that would benefit a larger majority? Is that still lawful evil?
Yeah, it could be.
Because that's why I want to keep lawful evil in this.
Yeah, because it gets a little. I mean, okay, look, you're trying to
give you my example then? That would make this easier.
Let's go.
Kyubey from Madoka Magica.
Okay, so this is interesting to me because I think Kyubey is the complete opposite of anything gremlin related. And what do you think he's a goblin or
goblin? Yes, I think he's a step above a gremlin because of the nature and his business is, I would say, more. This is where it's like, I wanted to bring up like he's trying to save his race of people or whatever that he is. In order to do so, people need to be sacrificed.
Okay. That's not what he's doing specifically. And this is why I don't think he belongs.
Okay.
Kyubey's specific goal is to reverse entropy, right? Entropy, of course, being the decay of order, like amongst the universe as a whole over time, leading to the heat death of the universe. To me, a gremlin has to have positive entropy. They have to add to the chaos. They cannot take away from the chaos like Kyubey does, because Kyubey does a terrible thing, which is like torture these poor little girls and, basically like sell them to a soul pyramid scheme type of deal. But there is a plan he has. It is a greater good that he is working for. 2, that is strictly in the order. It is like a hierarchical desire for order and structure and to make sure that the universe doesn't, fizzle out.
Sure.
Because, like, I don't think he does anything chaotic. I think everything he does is meticulously planned. And he's also kind of emotionless, which leads to, because I thought, didn't you say he needed...
He doesn't have to be. It's not limited, but these are qualities that are found in most gremlins. But he doesn't have to... They don't have to have every quality to be categorized as it.
I will say he looks like a gremlin.
Because, like, he's small, he's cute,
yes,
he's evil. Those are 3 alignments for gremlin energy.
That's true. Would you consider Griffith to be a gremlin?
No,
type of thing.
No.
He's small, he's cute, and he is evil.
He's small, but like he's still like...
Yeah, so I usually see him compared to Guts.
He's still like an adult man. Am I a gremlin standing next to Shaq? Like, maybe.
Yeah, it's like how Kelly Olynyk called me Frodo. Like, yeah, fair enough.
Man, fuck Maple Dick.
I love that guy.
Okay,
okay, but let me hear your pro argument for Kyubey, because I am interested, because to me, it's just, he's very anti-chaos.
The way you break it down, I think that you could probably throw him in my next definition.
Okay.
I guess my perceived thoughts of Kyubey is what he is trying to accomplish will benefit the greater good, like overall in the universe, if he does what he's doing. But what he is doing is harming and hurting people, but he is still cute and small.
Okay. Yeah, so
you can disagree.
I mean, I just explained why.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand your thought process here, because I guess to me, the most important axis on the gremlin thing is like the order versus chaos type of deal, where they need to be chaotic. That is, to me, that is the most important attribute to a gremlin. And then the other things, I sort of, filter that through and go yes or no, right? I mean, it's like a litmus test after that point. But like my one hard cutoff is they must be chaotic.
Yeah, I think that the chaos can be defined differently, because I think when we think of like light and bubbly chaos, like they do with like other gremlins, it's not as like crazy. But when we start talking war crimes, like maybe that diverts a little bit from chaotic energy. But I still think in some way it is chaotic. And that's why I wanted to include characters like them, because they have physical attributes that I see a lot in, and just personality traits of these characters, while not really, I would say, necessarily fitting the mold of a standard gremlin. So that's that's kind of like why, and maybe he'll fall into the other, maybe you'll agree that he'll fall into my other category. But I want to get to other examples that I thought were goblins. Mikey from Tokyo Revengers, one that Hibana from The Evil Lieutenant.
Okay,
the one that says "fuck."
Yeah,
all the time.
I would consider her. She's in my gremlin.
Yes. I to me, like the difference between her and say another gremlin is the violent nature of her character and her vocabulary. She says "fuck" every other
require
word.
that. That's a prerequisite to my gremlin.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I guess for me, it's like, I guess I'm more like my gremlin's pure, like more on the good side. And if you have like even like a hint of evil or aggressiveness, violence, that stuff, then you start getting into like a different territory.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the opposite. It's so funny that we split on this, especially with like how we like happy things versus like tragic things too. Where I'm just like, be evil, do it.
And then my other big one that I was having a hard time placing somebody is Yuki from the Shoshiman series. I think I agree that she belongs in Goblin, just because of her mental state, I would say, and I think sort of her actions are more aligned with her selfishness than the benefit good of other people.
For your definition, I would definitely agree with that.
Okay.
For mine, I don't think she ends up in any of my, well, I have one category and it's Gremlin. I don't think she ends up in that for me, because she is, again, a mastermind.
Yes.
And gremlins in my head cannot be masterminds.
Ooh,
they
really?
are just like, Yeah, because it's not like, to me, even if someone is causing chaos in some way, if the idea in their head is, let me cause chaos because I can take advantage of this and do X, Y, and that is not chaotic in and of itself. What it is like a plan. It is ordered. It is, an attempt to do something. Yuki seems chaotic until you learn her thought process and what is happening. To me, it's like the difference between, have you watched Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Like Peter Baelish, right? Versus the Joker from Batman. Like, it's, Peter Baelish is like doing all this stuff, throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, but there is an order to that. He wants to cause chaos so that he can gain things.
Okay.
Whereas people who just want to do chaos because they enjoy seeing other people's reactions and seeing what happens when they light a bunch of money on fire or whatever, it's that sort of thing. They don't think before they do things, a gremlin, in my head. They don't have plans. They are spontaneous. They are, good. I think this will be fun and I will do this. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, to different degrees, depending on what the character is, but they don't think ahead. And that's why in my head, they need a little bit of that malicious, because when you don't plan your thoughts, words, and actions, sometimes you do accidentally hurt people.
100%.
Yeah. So that's my thought on her.
I like that. I do like that. I like that. That's like because I think for me, it's like when I think of a gremlin in her actions, if she's not currently doing something, it's thinking about sort of what the next thing that she's going to do is. And so for me, my gremlins need some planning when the action isn't happening, but I do like that. I like that approach. That's fun.
I like it. And to me, it's actually, we're going to go through a list of people, and it's probably what's going to keep me the most off of like saying, yes, this character is a gremlin. Like, I think there's a lot of like gremlin adjacent, gremlin characteristic characters, but to be like a purebred gremlin, it's tough. Because like, even you had mentioned Yuki from Anya, right?
Yeah.
Yuki number 2 that we're bringing up here. Like, to me, she actually has some sort of master plan at some phases, and then she has some actions that are just chaotic because she's like doing her chaos thing, and they're not always related, and that made her very hard for me to categorize, because she seems to have 2 wolves inside of herself, and one of them is a gremlin who wants to fuck her brother, and the other one is just a normal person.
It's just a wolf,
I don't know. Yeah. It's
just a normal ass wolf.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I guess that's gonna lead me into sort of my last. Maybe I'll come up with more later, but I wanted to get like these out of the way. But the last one is a hobgoblin. So this is like a step above a goblin. Yeah, I know you're thinking, what the hell? I'm like, yep, this is where I'm going with it. So a hobgoblin is a gremlin in every sense, but their end result of their shenanigans ends with either destruction and mayhem that can lead to the public being affected in a larger scale, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally.
That's so interesting. Okay, so intent doesn't matter to you.
I don't think. I think so. It's sort of like this. It's say your dad is in charge of the launch codes, and there's a big red button that says if you press this, it shoots off a nuke. And you're throwing a football to your dad, and you're terrible at football, and that football hits the red button and it launches a nuke.
My dad and I in the launch center, tossing the pigskin.
He's busy with work. He's trying to make time for his kid, and that's the only time that he can do it.
I don't want to end up like the cats in the cradle, Dad. You're playing catch with me in the reactor.
Yes. This is a very bad example, but someone I came up with before we recorded. So the football, bing bong boom boom bong, hits 8 different things and hits the red button, and you shoot off a nuke. That nuke's gone. So whether you had meant to do that or didn't mean to do that, your actions have a consequence. Miles, congratulations, you are now a hobgoblin.
Okay, well, this is interesting to me then, because, this is so curious, because like, I need to think of an example of this that isn't.
You want me to give you my examples of what I think hobgoblins are?
Please hit me.
Okay, so you brought up Rebecca from Cyberpunk. And
yes.
so she had like actions before joining the team and after that I think would qualify her in this. Same with someone like Power from Chainsaw Man, or almost any character from Chainsaw Man, but I'm gonna say Power specifically, where she's killing the big monster in the city, but at the same time she's destroying like 40 buildings or something along those lines.
Yes.
It's like you saved the day, but like you did it in a manner that was poor. And this is my hot take. Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen.
I could see it.
Yeah. I think just based off what we've gotten so far in the anime, that it just always is lingering around him. And then, even though he was kind of involved with Shibuya, like these events are leading to like mass casualties and stuff like that in the series. So it's like, and he's goofy, silly, fun when he's outside of like fighting. So like these characters still have like qualities and characteristics I think that Gremlins have, but it's more along the lines of their actions or their consequences to their action.
Is Eren Yeager a gremlin or a hobgoblin?
No, he's a bitch. He doesn't have any of the qualities of a gremlin. He's just evil.
Okay.
I guess from what I'm seeing, he is overly emotional and clingy. So
and his actions lead to mass I'm saying Eren Yeager for Hobgoblin.
He's not small. I guess in his human form, he's probably smaller. I guess at the end he's not. But like he's a Titan, so he's not small. Like he's a big boy. I feel like this is where I would also put like, I haven't seen Tanya, but I would assume Tanya would also fall under this category. It usually has, I wouldn't say it necessarily always has, like, if we're using the D&D alignment chart, it doesn't necessarily have to be evil, but I feel like a lot of times these characters fall under an evil tag.
Yes, I mean, okay, that would make sense for me. In Hobgoblins, I believe, are always chaotic evil in D&D, at least 5e before the revision. But see, to me, someone like Tanya wouldn't count because, again, she's like a military mastermind. It is all planned. She also wants to kill God, and like she's doing things to get to an end, and that is, to me, that just sort of cancels you out.
You can't be smart. You can't be planning. It's pure goblin. Or I guess gremlin mode.
You can be smart. You cannot be wise.
Okay. Oh, okay. I like that. Because we're gonna do the Mount Rushmore later, and I have a character that I think is gonna be on a lot of people's list that I'm assuming is not going to be on yours because of your definition. So I'd be intrigued to see what that is.
I just thought of a character, which is crazy because she's a pretty popular character. But I think I'm putting her on the Mount Rushmore.
Ooh.
I think that's gonna have to happen.
Okay. Wonder what it could be. Okay. We'll get to that soon. But that's sort of how I've laid out my gremlins. Gremlin, goblin, hobgoblin.
Okay.
Usually how it progresses is off of like aggressiveness, evil, violence, affected outside of your friend group or core group or whatever. The more that happens outside of a group, the more goblin and hobgoblin energy you radiate.
Okay, so like the bigger, your like level or what, like I don't know,
your gremlin.
If you're like S class in One Punch Man versus like a whatever your threat level is. Okay, so if you don't mind, I'm going to give a quick overview of how I approached this episode and where I ended up.
Sure, let's hear it.
So one of the first things that I tried to do is I looked up interviews of like the creator of Haruhi, where they got inspiration from Haruhi, characters that I don't consider gremlins, but like interviews with people who voiced Mao Mao, or where various characters came from. And I found some and it was useful, but then I thought to myself, oh, it would be really nice if I could just like ask these people things. But it turns out talking to a Japanese author for a light novel or a manga is like, as far as I know, please let me know if you know how to, impossible. Yeah. Because like, they don't, a lot of people you could like reach out to their publicist or whatever and be like, hey, I have these questions, like if they don't mind answering, and like maybe you get something, maybe you don't. Like, for example, like I Google email Brandon Sanderson, who's like the biggest author in the world right now, and it just tells me how to do it.
Mhm.
I just
Use email.
he has like a form to ask him questions, and he'll try to text you back or what, you know. So, but I couldn't find any of that, so I had to take a different approach because I did want to see like what inspired these characters that I know we're going to consider Gremlin or Gremlin adjacent, and see if I could find like a common ancestor, and I couldn't. So I had to leave biology behind me, right? Like
Sure.
this evolutionary thing. And I had to go into philosophy.
Ooh.
So Plato had an idea about how things exist, and it is his theory of forms. The idea behind this, Pete, if you are not aware, is that everything has like its conceptual, pure form that exist might not be the right word. It exists out of like space and time. It cannot be affected. It is pure. So like it's sort of like when you draw a triangle on a board, that's not a perfect triangle, but you know it's a triangle, and you can conceptualize the idea of a perfect triangle. But like, where are you getting that idea from? It must exist somewhere, so it exists in this like metaphysical world beyond our own, where like pure concepts of things live. And as I thought more about these gremlins and had a hard time thinking, like, is this person a gremlin? Yes, no. Sometimes on some episodes, it was driving me insane because there's a period of time where I was just like, maybe there are no gremlins. Maybe it's a lie. Maybe no characters are a gremlin. I came to this concept. We cannot know the perfect gremlin on this earth, Pete, because we are not out of the cave yet. We are still seeing the shadows on the wall. So what you have is the concept of a gremlin, and then you have the actual gremlins themselves, and then you have like artistic depictions of gremlins, which is where we are at, right? That is actually all that can exist because gremlins aren't real. So
they're real to me, damn it.
I know, but look, Plato ain't alive. I can't email him about this either. However, he's what I'm going for.
Publicist?
Yeah, please.
All right, I got you.
Aristotle did a lot for that, I think. I'm sure he's still kicking. So, in my head, what I have for gremlins is just a scale of how much they reflect the pure concept of a gremlin.
I like that.
That is what it is. It's like someone like Mao Mao might be like 20% gremlin, but to me that's not enough to categorize her as a gremlin, but she has gremlin influence. But she's not immediately, if you just see her, she's not like immediately recognizable as a gremlin the same way that like you can make a square out of two triangles, you know, that sort of thing, whereas everything can be like broken down into pieces but isn't necessarily the pure form. And so this is how I've started to think about it. I've been trying to think of the characters that I think best reflect the world, and this is very gatekeepy, but this also doesn't matter, so I don't care. Best reflect the pure concept of gremlinness. And to me, that is like the fucking second law of physics, expanding entropy through actions without intent, even just naturally. And that is how I'm looking at them. So we have a list of characters we're going to go through, and a lot of people, I'm going to say, no, your character's not a gremlin, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to be pretty strict with this, I think.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
To the point where it's driven me a little insane because I needed to pick. Someone has to be a gremlin.
Someone has to be.
There has to be some, because I can think of the idea, and Plato would never lie to me.
I was gonna say I like your scale. I was just picturing like a video game and being like, yeah, I'm a level 6 gremlin. It's like, oh, you're only a level 4 gremlin? I'm a level 6.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you know, that idea, or where you like you can level up skills or something, okay, right?
Let me ask you a question. So like in your brain, you have like a mental checkbox of characteristics or traits of a gremlin that has it. And then depending on how many things that they check, that's like what percentage of gremlin they are?
Yeah, so basically the way it would work is that like I can think of the concept of a gremlin, and even my concept of it isn't 100% correct, right?
Yes.
But it is the closest depiction because I cannot perfectly depict my concept onto paper, right? Because every time you translate from the original metaphysical concept, you lose some data and it becomes a little less pure, you know? Understanding what beauty is versus seeing something that is beautiful versus trying to recreate something that is beautiful. You know, all of these things can be beautiful, but each time they maybe get a little like re-Xeroxing. Let me give an analogy for the kids for saving that JPEG too many times. And, you know, now it's photocopied or whatever, or it's compressed. I went back to Xeroxing. It is sort of my thought. So what I need to do is I want to see a character. I need to think of their actions holistically, not because there could be bias here, because a lot of characters have amazing gremlin-y moments, but that's not who they are wholly.
Yes.
Like Mao Mao is an example of this I would give, where she's literally just Sherlock Holmes, but also kind of gremlin-y sometimes. But holistically, I don't think she's a gremlin when I view her entirety, right? And so the line is technically arbitrary, but I need it when I see everyone's actions, how they speak, what they do. Do they have an off gremlin mode? And is that too anti-gremlin for me to consider? Not like, honestly, Umaru-chan was someone I was considering here because when you see her on screen, she's just a gremlin.
Gremlin mode for sure.
But the entire concept is she can pretend not to be a gremlin, and I think a gremlin couldn't do that.
Oh, that's interesting. You don't think gremlins can evolve?
Oh, I think if you evolve from being a gremlin, you stop being a gremlin.
Okay. I'm trying to think of like a word because like in my definition, I went like away from gremlin when they got more aggressive and evil. Well, what if they do like
mine
the
is
opposite?
order.
Yeah, and yours is order.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think of like what would be somebody who's like too pure to be a gremlin, but still has like all the characteristics and like qualities of a gremlin. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
There's a few like someone like oh god, I don't know.
How about this?
I think they definitely Yuru Camp type characters I think can fit that mold pretty well. Like pink hair girl, Nadeshiko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
someone
that.
brought up yeah.
I like that a lot. Let me ask you this question though. Can non-humans be gremlins?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Just checking.
I have one on my list, maybe in my Mount Rushmore.
Okay. I thought you were going to say something completely different. Okay, cool. All right.
What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to call your son a gremlin.
My son is a gremlin and not a human.
That's why I said
Coop's a bit of a gremlin. Yeah, look, he's two.
That also brings up another question that was because someone like Anya, is she a gremlin or is she just a kid? Right? Like
I think she's see, to me, Anya is a kid, and she has some of these gremlin-y moments, I will say, especially when she's at the school and she, but a lot of what she does, again, is preventing chaos, using the extra knowledge she has to fill in her parents' blind spots and make sure the mission goes smoothly. And to me, gremlins don't do that. So
see, and that's where we differ because while I think she tries to stop that, a lot of the time she screws up and unintentionally causes chaos.
And this is what I asked you about intent, because to me, intent is what is key.
Sure.
If you are trying to bring order about, like, I guess I wouldn't call, I don't know, fill in tragic hero who accidentally destroys the world, because they were trying to do the right thing and it just went terribly. Like, I want to consider them in that because the intent to do the right thing, the intent to bring order, to me matters a lot.
Sure.
Yep. So
I was thinking of like athletes who get hurt a lot. Like, are they injury prone or are they just like unlucky sometimes? And I think
it depends.
Yeah, it depends, right? So I because it's going to come down because I have Anya as a gremlin. And there's another child on our list that I don't think is a gremlin. So we're going to get into our Discord submitted. Is it a gremlin? Is it not a gremlin? Where would we categorize it? If you want to help us out in episodes like this, feel free to join our Discord. I have a channel called Podcast Discussions that I will sometimes ask questions and stuff to people and get their feedback. So this is where we're going to start, and I'm going to start with you because I've never seen this show. Miles, where is Ed from Cowboy and Bebop? Is he a gremlin or no?
I think Ed is a woman.
Did I say it was a man?
And you did. You said.
Did I?
I think you did. Yeah.
If I did, my apologies. I saw in my brain I did say that, but if I did, my bad.
Yeah. Well, her name is Edward. Like, honestly, you're allowed to.
And I haven't seen the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say Ed has a lot of gremlin characteristics. I definitely can agree with that. I think that the impulsivity is there. You know, she's sort of like a master hacker type of character, if I remember correctly, who just sort of does stuff because she can, like, very, like, to me, like, doing things because you can, hacking things because you can, is very gremlin like.
Okay.
There is, you know, there are goals and stuff, but this is like an example of me being willing to, like, give that, like, a pass, because, like, it's hard to have a character that has literally no goals, but I think it's more like Ed does these tasks because it lets her be on the ship and fuck around in her free time. Sure. You know, so
all right, fair
enough. That's the thought. Very, like, giggly, eccentric. You would think she's a gremlin, like, 100%.
All right, right on. Okay. Asuka from Evangelion.
I say no.
Okay. I put her yes in gremlin.
Okay.
I think barely, but I do think that she has enough of the qualities to solidify herself as a gremlin. Maybe not like the best gremlin, but I think that she does qualify. And we did Haruhi.
Yeah.
Have you seen Dr. Stone?
I have.
Okay. Suika, the watermelon girl.
Oh, Suika's so cute. Yeah. No?
Yeah, I also put her as no. And this is where I was having the Anya kerfuffle.
Yeah. I mean, she's funny and, like, cute, and I like her character a lot, but not particularly mischievous. She does some, like, spying and stuff, which could be considered as such. But she is, I don't know, like, I don't see a world where, you know, Senku is like, Suika, I need you to, like, not be chaotic, and she, like, is instead. Yep. Like, she feels like she can, like, listen and take orders and critically think a little bit too much for me to consider her a gremlin. I mean, I don't know. It's like, I guess I would get it, but to me, this would be like a very soft gremlin, like, where, you know, the definition just sort of means any character that is kind of fun.
Sure.
Honestly.
No, yeah. For sure. And for me, I was thinking, like, I think she's just more of a kid in a sense than someone like Anya, who has these powers to, like, get herself into situations that can be a little bit more gremlinly.
Yeah, I require malicious intent, at least a little. Not even intent, just, like, malicious thing. And, like, sure. Suika is the sweetest person.
Yeah, she's super nice. And I think it's just more of her being a kid than being something more than that. Okay. Nico from Love Live.
No.
I also say no. I think her, yeah. I can see why people would think that she is, but I think her appeal actually is beneficial and not, like, negative. So to me, I think she would not qualify.
Yeah. Why I like Nico from Love Live so much is why she is not a gremlin. It's because, one, she has her shit together. Two, she's basically hurting all of these unorganized wannabe idols.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she sort of brings, like, a try-hard thing. Because, like, the big clip of her being like, Nico, right? Like, the whole bit there is not her personality. She is nothing like that. And she does have some gremlin-y things, and she physically fits the gremlin thing. Yep. But I think you can't be someone who, I think, like, you can't get an MBA and be a gremlin. If you're considering the business side of your idol group You are not a gremlin.
Okay,
that is,
that's
in my
fair.
opinion.
I think that's fair. Oron from Dead Demons. I think this is a slam dunk. I think she's a staple as a gremlin.
Yeah. Here is going to be one of my hot takes. Not at all.
Wow.
0% gremlin. But we don't know that until like episode 20 or whatever. Yeah, I don't want to spoil the show.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. To me, it's like 90% of the show she is.
I understand, but to me, again, I'm looking at these characters holistically, right? Like, I'm cutting out Umaru-chan for stuff that literally only happens off screen. And so this is like, you know, if really quick, if you skip 20 seconds, if you don't want this amazing show spoiled for you, if your entire reason for acting like a gremlin is to like cheer up your friend and so that you can like make them happy and everything, and that's not like exactly who you truly are, and it's all like an intent, can't be a gremlin. Sure. I'm sorry. It's just not for me.
I like it.
I would have said absolutely 100% slam dunk until episode whatever. Yep. So,
fair enough. Okay.
And I still love her. She's an amazing character.
I mentioned her in my Goblins, but Hibana from the Evil Lieutenant.
I would have her as a gremlin.
Hey, we got one.
She just like bites people and stuff.
Yeah,
it's great.
It says fuck a lot.
Yeah.
Yuri from Girls Last Tour, the blonde hair girl.
I think the show's too calm.
Yeah, I think I would agree too. There's not enough. She brings chaos to the one person left in the world, but I think it's just they're bored. Okay,
I'm gonna do like a weird caveat for this one. Like in universe, when there's like 6 people left, sure. Like, okay. You know what I mean? Like in the context of this show, if there was a gremlin, it would be her. And like, I think she does sort of fit it, but the show is relatively muted because of its genre and style and everything. So she doesn't quite get there for me. But I think in that, if you wanted a healing show gremlin, she's a very good show.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I would agree. I like that answer. One I think we can both agree on. Twin Turbo from Uma Musume.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she has shark teeth, 100%, and she has a fun personality.
Yeah, and this is actually a good point I want to bring up. To me, it is easier for side and tertiary characters to be gremlins,
for sure,
because we don't know a ton about Twin Turbo, and she comes up, and all of her bits are her being a gremlin. And we don't really ever learn about her hopes or dreams or anything, and how she was secretly this way because someone bullied her when she was a little horse, and and like, you know, so it makes it easier to fit my like can't be that complex criteria because they didn't give her any structure.
Sure,
which is exactly what I want. She is a gremlin.
Love it. Okay, this one I have very limited knowledge on. And I'm not sure what you have, but Neko Arc from the Fate series.
Oh, gremlin.
Yeah. See, this is what I thought was a gremlin. And then I saw some clips and like Neko Arc runs like a restaurant in some Fate universe. And it's like
Neko, it doesn't matter.
Okay. But then it's like also they do the cat dance.
Yeah,
Neko Arc does the cat
Neko
dance.
Arc, the literal canon of Neko Arc does not matter.
Okay.
Also, I think she sort of has like fourth wall breaking Deadpool powers, which is like, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Neko Arc to know, but I'm fine compromising my ideals to just like look at this thing and say, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
No doubt.
Hell yeah.
Like that's my view.
Okay. Have you seen Inspector?
No.
Okay, then I will just touch on Kotoko Iwanaga. I've already seen the first episode or the first season. It's like the main character with the fake eye and the fake leg. I think she's a great gremlin. I think
is she a gremlin? Oh my god.
Yeah, because a lot of her chaos is like bringing that guy character into like her shenanigans and doing stuff with him for like because she has like a crush on him and stuff like that. And then they do fun mystery stuff. I thought the show was okay. I liked her character a lot. But I think she would qualify. In my book, I think in my book, she's a gremlin. In your book, she's not.
Okay. Her character design is age 20. Amazing. Very,
Yeah.
It does something to me.
Yeah, and then you find out that like one of her eyes are fake, one of her legs are fake, she's got missing body parts, so
Okay.
it's part of her character. It's cool.
Kind of like that a detective is already dead.
Yeah, but it's better than that show.
Wow, what a bar.
It's like 3 times better than that show.
I think I gave that show a 5, so honestly, I should watch Inspector.
There's 2 seasons, I think, so check that out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I just put Turbo Granny in both forms, cat form and granny form.
Yeah, I can see it. I haven't seen season 2 yet.
She's not even, at least not really a part of season 2.
Okay, great. Yeah, I guess that's, never mind. You know, what is cause and effect? But yeah, I would say for me at least, you have malicious, seemingly random, sometimes helpful, like just very chaotic, and very impulsive. I would say yes.
Okay. The granny form, I think I would put in like Goblin, and then the cat form I would put in Gremlin.
And
Miles,
I think it's funny that your like goblins and hobgoblins are much more likely to fall into my gremlins than your gremlins.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. It was funny because the whole point of when I was brainstorming this idea was like, we need to get a unified definition of this, and it's like, no, we're not. We are not aligning on this at all. Miles, Taiga from Toradora.
No.
Wow.
No, she's a tsundere. She's just a tsundere.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Maybe.
I'm trying to think. You'll think about it?
Okay. I'm going to say that I'm still going to say no. I'm going to say I can see it more than I initially did because I remembered beginning of the series Taiga of her just breaking into his house and hitting him with a sword and stuff. And like, I was sort of thinking of like later Taiga where you like learn about all of her trauma and like why, you know, it's like more like a cry for help than anything else. But like, I think there's definitely a view where you could say yes, though I think no. And it's the same reason I would say Asuka is no. I just don't view tsunderes as gremlins. I think they sort of put on the mask of being gremlin-y, but really they're the dere part, right? They have that soft part to them, you know? So it's a mask for them. It's not real gremlinness.
Gotcha. I would put her as a gremlin, but we'll get to that later. I touched on Yuki. Well, did you label her as a gremlin from Shoshiman?
Shoshiman? No.
She's not.
I would say not a gremlin. We talked about this because she's like a mastermind, like incredibly good at manipulation.
Okay.
Just, you know, again, you can't secretly be a mafia lord or whatever, and also a gremlin in my head.
Fair enough. One that you haven't seen is from Mono, a character named Anne Kiriyana. I think she's a gremlin. I think, like Miles said before, where I think I would push her towards the opposite side of Goblin and more towards the good side of Gremlin. Those were like I like your the Mono and laid back characters can go to.
But yeah, I wouldn't consider anyone in Mono a gremlin because everyone in Mono just takes pictures and has fun, and they're like, let's be in a club with each other.
If you watch the show, you realize how little pictures they take in that show.
Look, I've watched a large part of the show. I'm not done with it yet, but I've watched several episodes, and but they like, I don't know, they flew a kite and tried to take a video, and then they like went on a road trip to try to take some pictures, and like they attempt to take pictures.
Yeah, they attempt. The attempt is there for sure. Okay, have you seen Railgun?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one you'll need. I believe it's the main character's sister, Kuroko Shirai. I believe it's the little sister, if I'm not mistaken.
So not actually her little sister.
Oh, she acts like it?
Don't watch Railgun.
Okay, I won't.
Especially don't watch the dub.
Okay.
She says One-san, like that's how she refers to her, and the English translation in the dub is sissy.
Nice.
So is it Kuroko they're talking about?
Yes.
If anyone in Railgun was a gremlin, it would be her. It's been a while. My heart says no. There's too much attempting to do certain things, and like her personality is a bit of an act in some ways. And again, to me, you have to naturally, it's not behaving like a gremlin, it's being a gremlin. And that is, I think she's a little off, but I definitely see the vision there.
I need your input for that. And then the last one is Asakusa, I believe it, from Keep Your Hands Off Aizoken. The best way to describe it is the small one, gremlin girl.
Yeah, the one that looks like a gremlin.
Yeah.
This is another one where I'm just willing to be like, yeah, sure, like 100%. Cool. Like, I'd have to remember Aizoken a little bit better than I do to like give my pure, like, platonic definition, yes or no. But sometimes someone just, again, the idea is that you look at the object and you know what it is, and when I look at her, I know she's a gremlin. I know it's the twin turbo thing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, like, for me, yes, 100%. Okay. Like, okay. Okay, wait, I'm gonna post a picture thing. I'm gonna send it to Trent to put on the screen. But like, as you can see on this picture, you can't not be a gremlin. Like, it is just impossible.
And if you're showing me, I can't see it. So
I just put it on anime recording.
Oh, okay. Still can't see it.
Okay.
So that was all of our Discord submissions, and now we're gonna wrap up the episode with our personal Mount Rushmore. I went first for the definition, so Miles, I want to give your Mount Rushmore.
Okay, I'm gonna. I wonder if we're gonna have any overlap because of our slightly.
I'm gonna guess no.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick someone we haven't mentioned from a show we both very much loved from last season.
Okay,
I'm gonna pick Ponko from Apocalypse Hotel.
Ponko because see, this is like the Oron for you, where it's like at points she was absolutely a gremlin, and then afterwards significantly less a gremlin. I would still qualify her as a gremlin, but
so for me, here's a few things. One, she does become a little more ordered, right? She likes working for the hotel and stuff. And ultimately, none of that fucking matters because she still has giant mecha fights with what's her name. She's a tanuki. They're living in shit. They're throwing shit around.
Well, they clean up later.
There's a weapon of mass destruction that she reads about, and she's like, we need to build this. We absolutely have to. It doesn't matter if it serves no purpose. Like, we have to do it because of what, and she like riles everyone up, and she's purely chaotic, and there's no point in that. There's no reason she does that. And there's just so many moments like that where she just does these absolutely off the wall chaotic things. She has this very closed demeanor that she puts on sometimes, but I actually think that sometimes that's in the vein of a more chaotic energy. But when I remember her taking the chainsaw out, and I remember like it's just a bunch of impulsive, chaotic decisions. Sometimes they hurt people, like when she made them build a satellite for no reason. And but like that's sort of what I mean. It doesn't need to be like an evil action. It just needs to be something that's a little careless at the least.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, she sort of sums that all up, at least at different parts in the show. But I love her character so much that I'm putting her right on my list.
Love it.
And do you want to go back and forth, or do you want to do bam, 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 bam?
What do you want to do? You want me to go? You want to do back?
Let's go back and forth. Let's do that.
Okay. So we mentioned her earlier. I think she's gremlin adjacent, but she falls under my goblin category. She was the winner of my best girl of the year last year. I just adore her character and sort of all the things that she brings to the table. And that's Yuki from Shoshimen series. I love her. I love her demeanor. I love her presence that she brings, and sort of like this psychopathic character on the inside, but cute little girl on the outside. And I think that sort of reflects her character a lot, and it drives me towards that show and makes me really fall in love with that character. I adore Yuki, and I think she is a top tier gremlin and goblin.
Okay. My next pick is a character that I kind of can't believe has not come up It's from a show we both love. I'm gonna pick Aqua from Konosuba.
Ooh. Ooh.
So
that's a good one.
Right? I thought of this during. I just completely she left my mind. But all of the impulsive drinking and money spending and everything she does is a spur of the moment decision. She has the cute little small faces she does sometimes. She is pure chaos. And it's just. I think she is great at it. Like the scene of her just vomiting and then drinking again the next day. That is a gremlin.
Good answer. Good answer. I like that. I didn't consider Aqua as a gremlin, but like everything that she does is like gremlin energy for sure. That's a great pick. Love that. My number 2 is Anya Forger from Spy Family. I think she's just a bundle of fun when it comes to being a rambunctious child gremlin. The situations that she gets put into or puts herself into, and just the outcomes of these actions that she has are silly and fun and normally not very consequential. And I think that's a very important part of being a gremlin itself, especially someone of her age, where it's sometimes it's like jokingly like the fate of the world is at stake, but like it's more of just like her normal days going along at school and being like a wild child at some point. So I put her as my second spot of my Mount Rushmore.
And I would say some of the best gremlin faces in the business come from
Smug.
Anya.
Yeah, her smug faces are great,
just
which is a big thing. Yeah.
Like the little giggle thing is absolutely important. Okay, for 3, you know her. You probably don't love her, but I do, and I'm going to pick Haruhi Suzumiya, who I just think is a classic gremlin and inspirational for a lot of gremlins that came after, and then 2, really just does exemplify to me what the concept of a gremlin is. And it's just this chaotic, bored, doing whatever they can to entertain themselves without necessarily thinking about others person.
Yes. Oh, great answer. Love that one. My number 3 is Taiga from Toradora. I love just everything that she brought, like antagonistically, I would say, into Toradora, sort of like while being cute and fun in a lot of instances, that she did bring a different level of chaos. I would say it's not like this one like involved like her family and stuff like that, like a personal stuff that kind of was like a realer moment than I would say than most gremlins. And I appreciate that. I like her character a lot, and she's a bundle of fun. It wouldn't qualify for you since she's a tsundere, but I think that she does a lot of gremlin things that would qualify her for me. And I mean, Toradora is one of my favorite shows of all time, so I had to include Taiga.
Okay. My last pick is going to be a character from a thing that I don't really like that much as far as its media is, but I think she is just a gremlin and is just sort of undeniable, and I don't like all the presidents on Mount Rushmore, but there they are.
Yep.
And so I'm going to put Power from Chainsaw Man up there. I think she absolutely has that gremlin energy, things like not flushing the toilet, amongst other things, the sort of slop she lives in, how she doesn't really plan ahead too much. She just does things impulsively. Sometimes it goes good for her, and sometimes it goes bad for her, and sometimes it hurts people, and sometimes it helps people. For me, that is, and she has that feral energy I talked about, like very much so at the beginning. I think Power is just such a gremlin, and she has her place on my Mount Rushmore.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, and my last one, you mentioned it with Haruhi. This is who I think of when I think of gremlin. I think she is the staple. I think she is the prototype. I think this is what people look at for gremlins. She is the Caitlin Clark of gremlins. And that's Clara from Welcome to Demon School. Irma-kun.
Okay.
She's like Anya, but on, I don't know, large amounts of cocaine. Everything that she brings is just hilarious and fun. Like the fact that
she looks like one.
Her flip-flops are like crocodile teeth and stuff like that. She's always out of control and wild. She, I think, would fit perfectly under Miles, where she is not thinking past 5 seconds from now. She is pure just go, 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 go. Whatever happens, happens type of thing. And every character, every physical characteristic and non-physical characteristic, I feel like she fits the mold perfectly for a gremlin. And when I think gremlin, I think Clara from Welcome to Demon School, Irmakun.
Yeah. I've never heard of this character before. I Googled her, and yes, 100% one of those characters that you just look at and you go, yep, you don't need to break it down. You don't need to think about it. And 100% great answer there.
If you see like GIFs of her, it will even cement that even more. She is a bundle of fun. If you like Gremlins and you haven't seen Welcome to Demon School Irmakun, even if you don't like Gremlins, if you haven't seen Welcome to Demon School Irmakun, fantastic show. We're getting a 4th season soon. So, Miles, we've reached the end of the Gremlin episode. How do you think it came upon? Like, how do you feel about this episode? You got any parting words? Any final thoughts on Gremlins that you forgot but now you remembered?
Yeah, I think it went well. I was nervous going into it because, I don't know. It's just it's a hard thing to define, as you can tell from Pete and I doing it. Some of the answers we got from our Discord, it's definitely more of a vibe than a strict definition. And, vibes are going to vary from person to person. But I think we had a fun conversation. I think we had a good conversation about exploring the differences in our choices and everything. I liked your little hierarchy of mischievous creatures, and I'm glad we did it. I think it was fun.
Yeah, me too. It was fun to break this down, especially if it's like especially if we see more and more of these type of characters in our media going forward. It'll be fun to compare and contrast and see where we land going forward. But out there, anybody who's listening, if you want to let us know what you think a gremlin is, what your Mount Rushmore of gremlins are, let me know, let us know, whether it's in our Discord, whether it's in our YouTube comments, whether it's in our Spotify comments. I read every single one of them, so I will see them. And yeah, it would be fun to just, get different people's opinions and sort of see what people are thinking. And if you don't know what a gremlin is, hopefully we did a somewhat decent job at explaining what these characters are. So, Miles, thank you for joining. It was a lot of fun. This actually went longer than I thought it was going to. It actually is going longer than our K-pop Demon Hunters episode, which is surprising. So that was a lot of fun too. But thank you, everybody. If you have made this far and you want to support us, best way to do so is to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on. Next week for Watch Club, we are doing Kami-sama Kiss. So looking forward to that. Otherwise, in 2 weeks, I'm doing something. Don't know yet, but something will come out in 2 weeks. So I've done this 100 times. I'll figure something out by then. But on behalf of Miles and myself, I want to say thank you, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.